You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the war room. We got Dev, Chill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
What up, good people out there in War Room World? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts, Devin McMillan. I'm in the building with my brothers, Jimmy the Blueprint and B. Austin. We got NFL news, NBA action, Ball in the Family Report, and a whole lot more. So keep it locked right here to get in on the conversation. And make sure you join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 5 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. During the week, everybody, when we're not live on the air, be sure to check out archived episodes of our show at warroomsports.com. You can also get them on the War Room Sports mobile app, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and most other places you consume great podcasts. I'm back from Somalia. What up, bros?
What a guan, my youth. Oh, you wasn't over there.
Yo. What does audio sound like? I sound choppy?
Your mic sound nice. Check pause.
I know I probably sound crazy, man.
Yeah, you good.
I'm good right now?
All
right.
Yeah, you all right?
You're good right now. We
ain't start talking politics yet, so they not cutting us off.
People probably wondering, like, why the hell are they doing this, like, on the air instead of before the show? It's because before the show, we sound HD'd in a mug. And as soon as we get on the air,
yo,
they don't want us to be great,
man. They don't want us to be great. Shout out to my president, man.
Yo, and speaking of all hell breaking loose, man, shout out to everybody out there in L.A. These wildfires are getting out of control. I've seen videos and images that look like people on the 405 are actually riding through hell. I'm supposed to be out there in 2 days, man. They need to get that under control.
Yo, I ain't seen none of that. Dev sent me a message like, yo, you see LA? I'm like, no. He sent me that jump, man. So I did a little investigating, man, and it sounds like your man Weinstein, man, trying, change the narrative out there. So.
He like, if I'm going down,
everybody
going down with me.
He let his arson hands go.
Yo, on top of that,
double hands go.
Allegedly.
Have you heard that y'all president has moved the embassy to Jerusalem and declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel?
There's a lot of stuff going on that I didn't know could go on. So I'm about to start making some rules out in the streets.
How did the president of the United States declare that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel? I want to understand.
I'm sure the same way people inventing currency and it's worth more than everything.
What world do we live in, yo?
I'm gonna just make up money. And then I'm gonna just tell people who their capital city should be.
And
your man was like, yo, this the capital, B.
What a time.
Yo, my man strong armed the yo, this the capital, yo, because I say it is. My man really think it's 1724. And ain't nobody stopping him, That's the crazy part. He's doing whatever he wants to.
So
my
far,
man out here wilding. Yo, I really believe sometimes, like, yo, he trying to find a reason to get out, but he keep pushing it and they just keep allowing it.
Yeah. Like, what can I do that's worse? And then he does something and then they love it. He's like, damn.
Yo, but here's the thing, right? All right, now here's the thing, man. We talk about privilege and all this kind of stuff. Well, B. Austin does, but in the way that we measure success in this country. Now, I know that us talking, we don't measure success this way. We measure success in different ways. But for the way that the masses measure success, yo, y'all president might be the most successful human being to ever live, if that's how you're measuring it. Yo, right. the boy became a billionaire and became president of the free world and does whatever he wants. Yo, he does whatever he wants. Everybody's going down for grabbing yams. He did it, says it on tape, and gets away.
They got to the White House.
Yo, and he just make up capital. Like, yo, this is the capital right here, B. My man literally has been through life, done whatever he's wanting. No one's ever told him no.
But he didn't say this is the capital inside the United States. He told
this is the capital of New Jersey.
So hold up, though. I want y'all to really think about what I'm saying right here. My man has went through life and done anything that he wanted to. Literally.
Yeah.
How's that possible, yo?
What a time. What a time. All right, man. It's crazy. And like we said, man, another shout out to the people out there in L.A. Hope all this is over soon. Looks scary.
I hope y'all make it to the future.
You being selfish saying that because you're going out there and all.
Jimmy think this is all selfish right here.
I'm just asking, man. Asking for myself.
Anyway, let's get into some hot topics real quick, man. And hot topics, of course, are brought to you by Sports the Book. You guys tired of reading the same old sports book with the same lists, rankings, starting lineups, the fake starting lineups, the subjective information that people start to look at as being facts? Man, well, make sure y'all pick up your copy of Sports. Smart people only read the sports. Its mixture of sports and hip-hop culture will keep you on the edge of your seat, laughing like you're watching a comedy special, thinking like you're Einstein, all of that. It'll give you run the gamut of positive emotion. So just go to sportsthebook.com and get your copy from our website, warroomsports.com. But whatever you do, just make sure you don't miss the movement.
Shout out to my publicist, Dev McMillan, my publicist. But yo,
no doubt.
Real quick, I just want to say, shout out to everybody.
Writer,
yo, shout out to everybody using the Table of Gods theory, yo, because out of everything I've written thus far, in terms of sports, like I've seen that, yo, I've literally seen it in places where people don't know I'm watching, but I see y'all. Yeah.
You stuck that on. You threw that up against the wall, and it's sticking a little bit.
Yeah, that's the one thing out of everything. I see y'all though. It's all love.
The advice that I've given to everybody.
They biting.
God's stereo. Don't
I know what they're about to say.
150 extra chairs at the table.
Yo, because I was getting ready to say that.
Yeah, because at that point you're like, you're drowning out the theory because everybody's
bringing about false gods. You bringing the kids' table.
They table is a little out there. Dog. They don't got no IKEA tables, dog.
Yeah, people out there sitting at them Coming to America tables when he had to come down and speak to his parents.
Yo, you see that photo from Diddy's Thanksgiving, John? They got them Diddy Thanksgiving tables, yo.
He got the Diddy outside Thanksgiving tables. I wish it would have rained. I'm hating.
Damn, you a hater? Damn, you a Joe Budden?
No, if I was there, I definitely would have wished it would have rained, though, because I wanted to see the inside of Diddy crib. Like, why you got to stop here on the lawn?
You did it. You want to see the snaps.
Yeah.
You want to see where all the Me Too go down. My fault, allegedly.
I'm gonna try and go into his bathroom though. Shout out to Kent.
Yo, no, not a racist. My fault.
Let's get before we start talking of any of these hot topics, man. We got to get Gus Griffin on the line. He is with us. He has his NFL investment picks of the week, so we're going to bring him on the line right now. Gus, how are you, good brother? You there?
I'm well, but just for the remainder of the season, I will not be revealing the city in which I am in, just for my own personal safety.
Yo, you will not be revealing what city you're in? Listen, we love you. You mad buns, B.
I was about to ask you. You wouldn't happen to be in Los Angeles right now, would you? Because if you were,
I refuse to answer. I refuse to answer on the grounds.
Let's get
We're
not going to find out where Gus is right now because we got a couple of listeners looking for him, and we're going to protect him on this one. But Gus is now sitting at 25-30-1 for the season. It's week 14. You still got 3 more weeks to go. We can catch up. We can get over 500. Once we do that, there's nothing anybody can say. You won more than you lost. Maybe. All right, so let's start with the Thursday nighter. And you took the over-under for the Saints and Falcons is 51. What are you going with in this one?
Going over. This is typically a pretty high-scoring series. It's in a dome, controlled environment. The Falcons got held to 9 points last week. I just can't believe they're not going to score at least 24 to 30 on their own this week. So I'm taking the over.
Okay, and shout out to everybody in Atlanta who's attending that game because the Chick-fil-A is finally open. It will be open tonight in the stadium since it's not a Sunday game. It's a Thursday night game, so everybody get in the line for Chick-fil-A. And if you don't have tickets, get there just so you can get some Chick-fil-A. Gus, if you've been listening all season, you would get that, but we'll talk about that later. All right, so you got the Browns +4 versus the Packers. Which way are you going in this one?
I'm taking the Browns, believe it or not. Now, you know I'm desperate when I'm taking the Browns.
Okay. I mean, they're the Browns. It makes sense. Plus.
They're the Browns.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Hot Rod Hundley. It's not going to be a blowout, so I could see taking the Browns +4.
But here's the other thing with that. He hasn't played since 2014, and my man, Josh. Oh, I'm missing his last name now. I'm keep thinking Josh Brown, but I know that's not it.
Gordon.
Oh, Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon. He may have been the best athlete on that field last week. I mean, he really is a special athlete, and he didn't have a great game. 4 catches for about 85 yards.
How many chances? If he weren't a special athlete, he would have been gone for good.
Exactly. You don't get to come back after 3 years with his trouble unless you are an exceptional athlete. He's a playmaker. Anytime you're only at 3, that line started out at about 3.5. That's the odds makers telling us that Green Bay isn't that much better than them. And so I'm taking the Browns. I think they're going to finally get their first win this week.
All right. Wow. All right. So we were just speaking of the Los Angeles area, and this is a game that I'm actually supposed to attend this weekend, but, you know, LA is burning right now, so I'm not sure. But you got the Rams -2.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles coming off of their first loss in a very long time. They've stayed out there on the West Coast since leaving Seattle. They never came home. They've been practicing at Anaheim Angels Stadium. The game has potential to be moved there if the city keeps burning. What do you see in this one? 2 good teams fighting for high seeds.
2 good teams. I'm taking the Rams -2. I just think when a team playing as well as the Eagles loses, I mean they pass the tape around anyway. But when a team like that loses, everyone gets that tape. I think the Rams are going to look at what Seattle did and be able to pull that out. It's 2.5, so we're only talking about them winning by a field goal at the very least to cover that. Got one more pick I want to give to you if I can.
Okay, well, real quick, I just wanted to comment on that one. It's hard to do what Seattle did if you don't have Russell Wilson as your quarterback.
Well, I'm talking about
Jared Goff can't move like that. If he can't move in place like that, then that blueprint's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't know what they did defensively, though, against Philadelphia mainly.
Well, Carson Wentz had a bad night. He missed like 3 open touchdowns. So, we'll see. And I'm not just defending them because they're my homies. But, all right, what's the last thing? No, I'm really not. That's what I'm telling you. He played a bad game. I just don't know if you can duplicate what Seattle did, I'm definitely giving them credit. They made it hard from the start. They even had the coach being conservative when he hasn't been that way all season. So they scared the Eagles a little bit. They scared them.
Yeah.
So what's your last game?
I'm taking the Redskins +6. This is their third trip out west. They won at L.A. against the Rams. They won in Seattle. So apparently this long trip isn't bothering them. And they're coming off a horrendous Thursday night game against Dallas about 10 days ago. Last week, actually. So I think they're going to bounce back. I don't know that they'll win, but I think they'll cover that 6 points.
Okay. And that's actually, 2 games going on out in the Los Angeles area at the same time. So if they have to move that one, I wonder where they're going to move that one. All right, so we're sitting at 25-30-1. We're going to see if we can catch up a little bit this week. Got a few weeks left. Maybe by the end of that, you don't have to hide out anymore. You can let everybody know where you are. But as usual, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your picks, and we will talk to you next week.
Okay, got the column coming out. College, Central Florida and Meritocracy in America should be out. I guess, Devin, you can let me know when that's coming out.
Yes. Everybody can check that out first thing tomorrow morning on warroomsports.com.
All right.
All right. Talk to you next week, Gus.
All right,
brother Gus. We appreciate you, even if they don't.
Take care.
Gus Griffin, everybody, go out and make your investment picks. B. Austin, what you say? At your own risk. Come on, man.
I said we appreciate you, even if they don't.
All right, so let's get into something. I know you guys talked about this last week, and I've been listening to the shows. I listened to you guys last week when I wasn't here. I've been on social media. Me and B. Austin been going at it all week about this topic. So I just wanted to bring it back up for a few minutes. Plus, Malcolm Jenkins has penned an open letter basically to rebut what a lot of people are out there saying. He's been labeled a sellout, a coon, a white supremacist in black skin, a slave, all kinds of stuff I've heard all week. Heard a lot of it from B. Austin. Do you want me to read some of this letter? I could read the whole thing.
I never called that man a coon.
Okay. Well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, but plenty of people did.
All I said was Tex Gale.
So here is his open letter. I try to read it as quickly as possible. Said, it has been my goal for the past 2 years to raise awareness about some important social injustices that plague our country. The people who have been unjustly disenfranchised by our criminal justice system, and the people who daily fight for them always have and always will be the inspiration and focus of my efforts. I'm proud of what my peers and I have been able to accomplish by using the platform we have had these last 2 years. I'm proud to be a part of a group of men who are standing up because we can help others. I'm proud of the men who may now disagree with me in our direction, but still played a significant role in getting results through our actions. We will not be deterred from fighting for justice. There are many players across the league who have joined these efforts toward new legislation, reestablishing trust with our police, and helping to create educational and economic opportunities in our communities. I welcome anyone who wants to join us. Then he goes on telling about when the real work began the summer of 2016, around Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, and others. We realized we needed to get involved. He's talking about how it grew from there. He and Anquan Bolden rallied up a group of us to go to Capitol Hill in November 2016. It kept growing with a large group of NFL players and others joining the efforts. Blah, blah, blah. He's named Doug Baldwin, Chris Long, Torrey Smith, Anquan, Rodney McLeod, and others have spent time in cities and towns talking with people about issues and pushing legislators to right these wrongs. What we learned is not a Democrat or Republican issue, it's an American issue, blah, blah, blah. I wholeheartedly support and respect those who want to continue to protest. My hope and focus will now be on getting the media coverage and attention on the tragedies we need fixed. Those in our juvenile justice system, unjust bail policies, mass incarceration of young black men in this country, and lack of employment opportunities in low-income communities, not whether I'm raising a fist before taking the field. He thanks the organization who helped them, the Fair Punishment Project, the ACLU, Center for American Progress, Community Legal Services, a few others. He also appreciates the fans who supported the fight for equality, especially appreciative of people like Stan Van Gundy, who lent his support, helped pave the way to expand the movement to include the NBA. What the NFL has done is a good first step. It's not going to solve the massive problems we have in our cities and states across the country, but it's a start. And more importantly, I'm glad that we were able to get them to acknowledge their responsibility and role in trying to help solve these problems and injustices. They're making a major commitment, more than they have done for any other charitable initiative, to provide us with the marketing platform to educate millions of fans about social justice, racial inequality, and the work players are doing in criminal justice reform, police accountability, transparency, and education, economic advancement. Last paragraph. For myself and the Player Coalition, it was never about the money or having our voices bought. To hear people call me or anyone else a sellout is insulting. It has always been and will always be about lifting the voices of the people and the work of those that fight for them. God bless. All right. So B. Austin, we've been rapping all week, and your position is what? That he sold out, and what's your position? State your position.
Well, I really would like to hear. I think the folks want to hear your position on this, because mine is, first of all, thank you to Malcolm Jenkins and Anquan Bolden and those that did stand up. I don't necessarily see his intentions as being I don't see his intentions as being negative. He's not going into Trump Towers to sit down and have a photo op. So I do believe, and for whatever it's worth, my interpretation of his intentions is that he's sincere and positive. My issue is that he chose to essentially do business with an organization that I do not believe has his best interests at heart, that does not have the best interests of the cause that he stands for at heart. And I believe that they chose to make a token move, and some of that was supported by, some of what I'm saying was supported by other players that are in the know. So the question becomes,
5 out of like 3 out of like 40 players.
Well,
you're right.
There was a couple. Some player, just like there. If you look at the percentage of those that stood and protested, it was like 5 out of 40 or 50 on the team. So it's always a small percentage of people. So that's not really relevant. But the players that you're referencing,
do you know what they were upset about?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, because they were kind of, because Eric Reed is a former teammate and friend of Colin Kaepernick.
Let me read a
his
statement.
was more like a hissy fit because Colin Kaepernick.
I get that. I get that. So Eric Reed made an assessment, and Russell Okung, who is outside of that relationship, said he's also withdrawing his involvement from the Players Coalition effective immediately. The decision-making process has not represented the will of many players, including myself. The NFL continues a disingenuous approach to player grievances, refusing to match the urgency of this moment in history. Their proposal is woefully inadequate. The NFL seems satisfied with an illusion of player agreement, when in reality, we are far from establishing a meaningful resolution. Don't believe.
So what I'm asking you and these guys, because you said the NFL made a token move and they're doing business with an organization that doesn't care. Like, at what point during this whole thing did you expect the NFL to actually care? If you think the NFL cares about half the initiatives and the charitable things that they do out there, then you're very naive. Like they do stuff.
No. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they care. Yeah, I don't think they care.
Okay,
it's not a matter. I think you have to make them care. I think you have to make them care.
How long we been in this country and they don't care? How you gonna make them care? They just got a bag from an organization that they're not even protesting. That's what people don't understand. I think a lot of people who are criticizing, and if this is not you, then that's fine. I think a lot of people who are criticizing and calling this dude a sellout are mixing up the players' protests with their own protests. Most of the people who are protesting the NFL and boycotting the NFL is because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. That has nothing to do with why the players were standing, because a lot of these dudes were standing, kneeling, fists in the air with him like a week after he started doing it for the very same reasons that he was doing it. They weren't protesting the NFL. So if you can negotiate with the NFL, because yes, we all know the NFL owners don't like the aesthetics of people protesting the national anthem on their platform before their games. As the longer it goes on, it makes it look like they don't care. So if you can get money from an organization that you're not even protesting, like how is that being sold? How is that selling out? How is that hush money? And it's another misconception that they bought the players and it's hush money. First of all, hush money, I don't think that's a misuse. That's a misuse. Hush money has to be personal money. So if this money is not accounted for, then fine, we'll see that. But if you look at the whole Players Coalition and you look at the funds that they got, there was nothing in the deal, and a lot of people are making this misconception as well. There was nothing in the deal that said that they couldn't protest anymore. Malcolm Jenkins, the leader, the face of it, said that he wouldn't protest anymore because he was going to put his energy into actual action right now. So I'm just trying to get this handle, and right now you're the spokesperson because you've seemingly agreed with all of the people that I've seen negative, and I'm just trying to understand.
Isn't continuing to protest an action? Isn't that an action? Because if you're going out and saying, I'm going into the community, that's something that he's been doing. Like, salute to him, because Malcolm Jenkins has been.
But he hasn't done it with any significant money, B. And he hasn't done it with any significant marketing.
And that's a
whether it's genuine or not. Whether it's genuine or not, they're going to be on TV with all kinds of commercials over the next 5 or 7 years, just like they do, for the breast cancer and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be all over TV getting this message across. He's going to be going out into the community with a significant amount of money that he didn't have before. So it's like, why are people articulating him for being about that action?
One of Reed's points, and then I'll get further into mine. One of the issues that Reed took was and I'm quoting verbatim, in the discussion that we had, Malcolm conveyed to us, based on discussions that he had with the NFL, that the money would come from funds that are already allocated to breast cancer awareness and salute to service.
So what? It's money that they didn't have before.
Yo, can I finish, Aki? So it would really be no skin off the owner's back. And I like that statement because it wasn't even just about the allocation.
You like a statement that's silly. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
I never finished.
Let me tell you why. Earmarked money doesn't mean that the money's come out of their pockets yet. It's what they've promised. The money is still coming from the same people. Don't sit here and talk about it's no skin off somebody's back, B. Listen. And I used this analogy before, and you said it was extreme. You said it was extreme. All right, so I won't even use the extreme one then. Let's put it like this: I got $3,000 earmarked. I got a savings account that says McMillan Family Disney Vacation. I got $3,000 in here because we're gonna take a vacation in the summer. You get arrested. So I have nothing else but that savings. So I'm going to take $1,000 of what was going to my trip, and I'm going to help bail you out. Are you mad at me? Because, you used money to get me out that was earmarked for something else. What does it matter? It still came out of my pocket. And you still got money from an organization that wasn't even. Was it the NFL that were out there killing black men? They got money from an organization they weren't even protesting.
That's a great. So I guess in the larger picture, in the larger scheme of things, you don't see how NFL ownership and the people that are a part of NFL ownership are related to this system that supports what they're protesting.
I don't see why they're on the hook for money. So if you get money from them, that's a plus. But getting money from them seems to make it. I mean, this is where this is the society we live in right now. Like all black people, we're like pressed. We're super pressed to find the next person we can call a coon or something like that.
No, and I never called them that.
You're not.
Because
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like half of this is what I heard, and half of this is what I've heard from you and what we've talked about online over the past week. But it's like I don't want you to move money that's earmarked for breast cancer. I don't want you to take the monies that you've earmarked to take care of your tax bill. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? They're not going to stop doing what they do for breast cancer, man. Everybody's still going to wear their pink cleats. They're still going to have their commercials. They're still going to give money where they give it. Like, why does it matter to you that they're promised this money?
What you're saying is
they are giving money.
What you're saying is that the allocation is different. So what you're saying is that statement is false, which it could well be. We don't know. But I'm
saying the statement makes no difference in the larger scheme of things. Why do they care where the money is coming from? It's like we want to count people's money. Oh, that's nothing to billionaires and this, but it's more money that has ever been thrown at these particular causes. So why can't we look at that as a win instead of wanting to bash the people who actually went out and got something done? 2 years from now, if these dudes are still kneeling, fist up, whatever they're doing, and nothing has come out of this yet, then everybody's going to be calling them like, man, they ain't doing nothing. Like, then we're going to be mad at them for that. But somebody actually put the protest into some action, and we're mad at them.
I honestly would like them to continue that protest, because I believe that them taking that stand and working in the community is necessary. Don't allow yourself to say, all right, I'm gonna step away from the protest because they gave me the money now. All right, I'm gonna go work in it. Nah, if you're on a national platform, continue and stay the course until change is effected. Don't take the money and say, all right, now I'm cool. I'm gonna take it off your lawn. I'm gonna go down the street, as I've heard used. Nah, continue to protest.
What protests don't end when you get something of value in a protest? Like if we're in a union and we're outside picketing and we got signs on the street.
Yeah,
after we negotiate value at the table and we get something, we're not gonna go back outside.
You know why that's a flawed. You know why that's a flawed analogy? Because in a union protest, there are set economic hurdles that, when met, the protest goes away. This isn't a set economic thing.
Strike that from the record. Strike that one thing from the record. Okay, that's rebutted one thing.
The specific hurdle is to change the tide of law enforcement, the judicial system, and legislation as it affects people of color, specifically young black men and women, right? So until that changes, your fist needs to be up, your knee needs to be knelt, whether money is coming or not, because that $90 million isn't going to change that.
And neither is sitting there with your fist up for the rest of your career, B.
Okay, so which
one is going to do more? Because obviously,
I don't know. I can't tell you that $90 million.
Our highest official in this country, all he's doing is turning people against the league in general. So this big stage that they have, which is the reason why they did it, when they did it, where they did it in the first place, it was never anything against the NFL. We were the ones mad at the NFL because of the Colin Kaepernick treatment. This was after the fact. But the reason Colin Kaepernick stood up, sat down, kneeled, and everything he did, and everybody who followed him, the reason they did that had nothing to do with the NFL. It was because the NFL was the biggest stage that they had. The national anthem was the biggest stage that they had. to go out there and quietly voice their opinion.
So wait, are we now functioning under the assumption that the owners aren't a part of the groups that have an issue?
Okay, link that.
Like, are we really?
Are the owners out there killing people? Is that what he was protesting? Is that what he was protesting? You can link that all you want. We know what the system is, B. We know what the system is, B. So it doesn't matter if we know that the owners are a part of the system and all of that kind of stuff. They weren't protesting that, and Colin Kaepernick will tell you that himself. That's not what he was protesting. And he went on TV week after week to tell people that it wasn't about this and it wasn't about that. So yeah, we can link every white person in America to the system, B. But like, what point are you making by doing that?
The
if
point
these guys
being
telling you that those weren't the people they were protesting, what's your point?
I don't subscribe to the notion that they weren't. I think that if you're not fighting the system, then you're allowing yourself to become a part of that. You're being bought off by that system until you use the analogy of the picket. You know, you're picketing at a job.
Okay, I said strike that from the record, B. That's the only one you've rebutted. You ain't said nothing about the earmark money, all of this stuff.
Go ahead. Go down the
analogy. So why are you still dwelling on that?
I don't have a real debate. I can go through each one of your points and rebut them.
I've been waiting for you to do that then. Like
okay,
I said,
so that was
I've already told you.
The second rebuttal is I don't want money coming away from breast cancer. No matter whether we think it's bullshit coming from the NFL or not, leave that money there. Reach into your pocket, put more money into the youth, into the neighborhoods and communities. That
now we're worrying about where it comes from, not the fact that they have it.
It's not a matter of where it comes. Oh, okay, yes. I'm worried about where it comes from.
It's coming from the same pockets, the same bank accounts. B.
Yes.
You've never had a budget for your gas bill, and your electric bill came out more than it was. So you're like, damn, I'm gonna put some of this money I had for my gas bill onto my electric bill. It's the same money, yo. An earmark is just that. It's an earmark.
Yo,
these
dude,
same
are
programs
you serious? Are we talking about billionaires who are doing this from a tax advantage standpoint?
Patty, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're doing it for.
Why doesn't that matter?
It doesn't matter because you're trying to make people care who don't care. All I'm worried about is they care about these dudes for their money that they don't want to give us in the first place. You're trying to make them care. Come on, that's way unrealistic. They're going to care all of a sudden because we put our fist in the air. They're going to care. We've been here, 400 years? And they're going to care because we put our fist in the air. So, no, we strong-arm them for some money that they weren't even on the hook for so we can go out and do some stuff in the black community, go out, get in front of legislators like dude was doing before he even had money, had this kind of money. They got a new stage. They got a new marketing platform. They're going to get their commercials. People are going to be aware of it. But you're sitting here acting like it's realistic to think that these dudes care or they're ever going to care. B, in our lifetimes, in Earth's lifetime, these people aren't going to care about these issues. So chill with that because you know that. You preach that every week. So strong-arming them for something that's going to help us go out and do something means way more to me than trying to sit here. I want them to care. There is shit if they care. Because we know that's not realistic.
They're able to purchase their way out of an uncomfortable situation, and I don't think that that's going to lead to the result.
Purchase their way out of? There was nothing in that contract that said people weren't going to protest. One dude said he wasn't going to protest.
If the leaders of this coalition stop protesting, you don't think that they're gonna follow? And if your notion
was only 40 strong, dude, everybody in the league's not a part of it.
It wasn't a whole hell of a lot of dudes protesting.
There was enough. There was more people protesting that was in this whole mix. Eric Reed and them should still be protesting.
If the leaders of the coalition stop, the members of that coalition, I'm not saying all of them, but you don't think that they're going to follow suit? They're not going to follow leaders. They're going to say, you know what, I don't care what Malcolm's doing.
Obviously, there's a contingent of players who no longer want to be associated with that anyway. So if he has a group of people, since y'all keep, what Eric Reed says is gospel these days, then I hope he has more than he and Russell Okung. So he should have enough
great,
people.
But I never said that what he said was gospel. I was just looking at the point he made.
And there's some quoting his work like every 2 minutes in the conversation.
You started quoting. Yo, come on, dude. You started reading. You read what Malcolm stated.
I read the letter. That's the whole point of the topic right here.
There was
he
a
rebutted what everybody was saying. So I read the letter so you would know that.
You got to know what he's rebutting.
It seems like a lot of people aren't getting the facts before they just come out and talk.
You do need to know what it is that he's. So his letter was a rebuttal. His letter was a rebuttal, right?
His letter was telling everybody what happened, why he got the money, and why he's doing what he's doing. And,
so it would make sense. It would make sense to hear where that's coming from.
About that action.
It makes sense to see where that's coming from. He was really responding to something that was started by Reed, Okung, and Thomas. So that's all I was doing, is giving the alternative side of the table. That's it. It's not quoting his word as gospel, but the hyperbole is cool.
It don't have to be hyperbole. You were saying the same stuff. You said, I'm going to read his stuff and I'm going to tell you my stance. Your stance was basically just like his. He had a problem with money being earmarked for something else and taken out, and you made the exact same point for yourself.
Money being reallocated is an issue. The fact that, or not the fact, but my feeling that this is going to be leveraged to take some wind out of the sails of protests on.
Since when have you started caring where you get a check from, where the money came from?
Oh, I care.
You don't think anything you've ever did in your life was reallocated to you? Like it's not like people are making a big deal out of that. Nothing's going to happen to what they do in October for breast cancer. Nothing.
Okay. I feel like it was bought. Time will tell. Time will definitely tell where this ends up, and it's certainly a topic that we can revisit as we
Jimmy, you got any opinions on this?
I think Toe got my man. Nah, Toe got him. Toe got him.
Jimmy out there knocked out. All right. I just don't understand, people's position on this. And to me, it just seemed like, everybody just wants to follow suit. But I just don't get it, man. Like I said, my whole point is these dudes that went in there and, no matter what people think about the deal, because I'm not defending.
And I didn't get to the deal point
because
I don't know the deal point.
The deal is corny to me. Yeah. Like, for me, my thing is, they went in here and basically strong-armed these dudes who don't care, to your point, who don't care, who will never care. So, no, they don't want a penny of their money going to this, but it is, whether it's because they want to save face. I mean, come on, everything is about, and today's society is about saving face. How many people genuinely give and do stuff, and it's all about the goodness of their heart? We know how the game is played. So that my whole point was, like for me, it doesn't matter where the money's coming from. Like, to me, I'm a little impressed that they got it in the first place. We know why they got it, and the analogy I used for that was, okay, if somebody runs a business, right, and it's like the most popular business on the block, and something happens and people want to protest, so they go on this block and they're protesting in front of your storefront. The only reason they're doing that, it don't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with you have the most popular storefront. If we go here, people are going to see us. Just like they're thinking, if we do this during the national anthem of the most popular sport in America, people are going to see us. And then, let's say it's my store. I come outside and like, yo, come on, man, y'all, it's kind of bad for business. Like, whether I like their calls, dislike their calls, it's kind of bad for business, man. Like, can I give a little something to your calls so y'all can take this protest down the street? Like, I respect what you're doing, but it's bad for business. Like, and as much as we dislike these owners and all this kind of stuff, you're a business owner, B. I'm a business owner. Shoot, we own a business together. We know how important that kind of stuff is. No matter what our beliefs are, you got to look out for number one. This is our business.
That analogy. I like that analogy.
So I come out and like, yo, I'm gonna donate a little something to your cause if y'all can just take the protest down the street.
I'd like to build on that analogy. We own a donut shop together, right?
Right.
And in that donut shop, the those that are charged with protecting and serving, they love our donuts. So they come in and they have donuts and they drink coffee, and they've been doing this for some time. So, we have a little relationship. They show us a little extra love, a little extra care. But the community is also aware that this is a hangout spot for swine. What ends up happening is they're protesting at different hours, so not necessarily at the start of those that protect and serve their shift, but throughout the course of the day, they're there protesting. Now, in the midst of that, there's some improprieties that go on. There's some things in the community that's noticed. Maybe
some Negroes get shot.
False arrests, Negroes get shot. All types of stuff is going on. Now, we are affiliated with those that protect and serve. We're not directly aligned with them. We're not a part of their organization, but they come and they enjoy our donuts and coffee, and the protesters are protesting out in front of our spot. At some point, we can give money to their cause, or we can say, you know what, we need to speak up for that cause. Now, you and I having the background that we have, of course, we'll speak up. But if we had another background, perhaps we would feel a little bit uncomfortable speaking up because that doesn't affect our families directly, right?
See, that's the thing. Not only is it uncomfortable, not even take out uncomfortable. We might just not give a shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what I'm expecting from them. Like, if you don't care.
Right. But now for me as a protester, this is just me. If I'm in the protest and you at your donut shop come out and give me $1,000 towards my cause, man, that's all well and good. Thank you. I appreciate it. But the officers that murdered that boy still come here, even when they're on administrative leave, and they enjoy their donuts and they enjoy their coffee.
You totally changed my
analogy.
Because my storefront didn't have any pigs that hung out. but that's what I'm saying. Okay, but that's different though. Like I said, you didn't build on my analogy. You changed the analogy. Because in my analogy, there weren't no officers in there. I didn't have an officer hang out. Like, I didn't have a donut shop or.
But in this case, the parallel here is when stadiums are built and events are held, ownership is in line with the fraternal order of police for the security. The fraternal order of police feels comfortable speaking up on these things because they know they have a relationship with the facilities management, which is run by ownership. So that's why I changed the analogy and I use that, because there is a relationship that's there if you parallel this to what's going on, right? So in multiple
that's
cases,
a crazy parallel to make, because in any business like that, people need security. And if that's where security comes from, which in most places it does, off-duty cops and they're getting security, but they're getting paid for that. Like, it's not like we're making the relationship. I think we're making the relationship more than it is. I mean, we know. And
they feel real comfortable speaking up on things that are outside of the realm of their business that they're paid for. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I'm kind of using that analogy and drawing that parallel, because things aren't changing. So I'm not moving from the front of your store. I see what you're saying
when you put that into the analogy. But sitting on the sideline during the anthem because they had security guards who were policemen in there. That wasn't the thing. So you're trying to put a super link on this. We know the system. We know everybody is linked. And like I said, how many years have we been in this country trying to get them to understand, trying to get them to care about our causes? Like, that's a lost cause, man. At this point, strong arm them for what we need to go out and try to make this happen ourselves. Like, I give dude props. You know me, it has nothing to do with who he plays for, because we've had plenty of dudes in Philadelphia that we both done called all kinds of names. But I don't have anything but respect for dude, because we sitting here killing this man because he's turning protests into action. Like, we ain't still out in Alabama protesting the goddamn bus company. Like, when stuff happens, okay, put your energy elsewhere.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. And if cats still want to go out there and kneel and put their fists up, then there's nothing wrong with that either. But like for me, like all the name calling and stuff just gotta stop, because in today's society, people do one thing that other people don't agree with, then everything they've done before, their whole reputation is messed up. This dude had a stellar reputation for the stuff that he was doing that a lot of people don't seem to realize he was doing way before Colin Kaepernick sat down on the sideline. But now all of a sudden,
I have a problem with that, and that can be addressed. And for me, what I said, knowing and understanding who Malcolm Jenkins is, from even prior to him playing for the Eagles, when he played for the Saints, he was at Ohio State. I respect him. I understand what he's trying to accomplish. I did say two things, which my two things were, it feels like a sellout. I'm on record as saying that. And it feels like they're being bought. The protests are being bought. And to me, it's prior to any major accomplishment. And from your perspective, you're looking at, $90 million is no small sum of money. So for you, $90 million over 7 years, that's a coup. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, that's $90 million more than what's going to, because everybody calling this dude a suck. I'm pretty sure 90% of them didn't give a dime to any of these causes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me,
I get it.
I just don't get that. You getting told a little bit. Am I getting told?
No, you're good.
Where Jimmy went. But all right, so yeah, more stuff to come out about that. And I'm also on record to put in, and you can look around, you can vouch for me on this if you read everything I said. If in the years coming we find out, this money doesn't go to places where it's going to, help the cause, then okay. I got a whole new set of bars for Malcolm Jenkins and Anquan Boldin and everybody who's, all the other players who's defending it. So, yeah, it's as far as where the money, how it's used, yeah, it's a wait and see for that. But let's go on to some NFL stuff. Let's go on to some kind of on the field stuff. Your man for New York, Ben McAdoo, was fired a week after sitting Eli Manning and breaking his 210-game streak. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Because I think they let go of the general manager in New York as well.
I'm kind of divided. It first of all, Eli has been playing like turducken, and a part of me is like, it's the organization's fault because they have not invested in the offensive line. They have not invested in a running game, and that Eli Manning is not anywhere near Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Wentz in terms of his athleticism and escapability. So you got to respect that. You got to know your personnel. But I do have to hold Eli somewhat accountable, because here's a guy that at one point in time I held in high regard, somewhere between 5th and 10th best QB in the NFL. He's no longer in that area, but I think that a large part of that is because the Giants haven't given him the tools needed for him to be there. And I think some of what I see in Eli Manning when he plays is self-preservation. Some of that is self-preservation. I don't think that his skill set has eroded to a point where he cannot do it anymore or he's just garbage. But he understands that, hey, the team is no longer good. My time is running down. So all that being said, he's been the consummate professional. He sacrificed to get himself to New York, which was more of a bet on self, an investment than that could have blew up in his face. Yeah, it could have blew up in it. But he took a chance to come to New York, and he's been everything they've needed, including helping to bring them 2 championships, 2 Super Bowl wins. He deserves more respect. And the problem I have with it is the Mara family. The Maras marched out, dude, McAdoo, to have him do this, and the excuse they gave is we want to see the 3rd round draft pick and see what he has. Then you turn around and start Geno Smith.
And that's my thoughts on the whole thing. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna break this dude's streak, do it for a good reason, because you have a quarterback who you don't know whether they can be your future or not. We know what Geno Smith is. You know, and you know, as much as I've ragged on Geno Smith in the past, I'm not saying Geno Smith doesn't belong in the NFL, but Geno Smith is not going to be your starter of the future. So no matter what Eli was playing like, it's like, does it make sense? Like, the team is out of it. So does it make sense to break this man's historical streak so you can see Geno Smith? That's the part that I didn't understand. Like you said, if you had a young dude back there waiting in the wings, he like, man, he's possibly it.
Like,
or
you got to
might
see,
not be it. But
you got to see what he and but that's the reason they gave. That's what they said. We want to see what our 3rd round draft pick is, who's currently our 3rd stringer. You know, we want to see what he. And then you turn around and march Geno Smith, who by the way didn't play bad by Geno Smith standards. I mean, he played okay, but what's
his standard? He didn't throw 7 picks.
Buns, man, it's buns. But I don't know. Shout out word to Jimmy. I don't know. That was very Bush League. It was classless on the part of Mara, who has a relationship. You got to go that type of situation. You got to face the music. If I'm in Mara's position and I own an NFL team, which probably had never happened because of, you know, our history here in this country, but if I own an NFL team, I got to go and face the music and have that conversation and deal with Eli tears and Eli emotion up in his face and tell him what it really is, like, as a man. I don't send the coach that I'm about to fire to go do that.
Yeah, right. And the crazy part about it is, like, this coach, Eli, basically, like, you got a job because of Eli.
Yeah.
And this is how you do the dude at the end of your tenure. But he's gone. The general manager is gone. And Eli Manning will be resuming his starting duties, which, now, I'm like, for me, you know, I just like to see, like, if people are on some kind of streak, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the hater type, like, because I should root against everything the Giants do, you know, just because of where my loyalties lie. But, yeah, I would have loved to see how far he could have gotten before he was forced to miss a game. Like, I don't think, even though, you know, he hasn't played great, I don't think their problems lie on him. And I think we were all duped, because I'm not going to front. I picked this team to win the division. And as much as you and I put into the Fat Boys up front, we saw all the talent they had at the skill positions, all the weapons they had. We got a little excited, and we got duped a little bit. And they're one of the worst teams in the damn league, even with all. And not even just that, though, because the talent still could have won them some games. But that fateful week 4, I think it was, when they lost like every receiver they had at the same time.
Yeah, they lost. They lost everybody. I didn't think the Fat Boys were this. You know what? I honestly forgot about the cardinal rule, which is the line of scrimmage is where the game is won and lost, and I just threw that out the window because of the talent. I didn't think that their O-line was this babbage. Like, how can you have a garbage O-line with a guy that runs? You know your quarterback runs a 5. Like Eli Manning, to put his
never have a running back. So we put that all on receivers
in perspective. Yo, Eli Manning right now is slower than Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning ain't got no spine. Like Eli Manning is that slow, and then you don't have a running game. Your running backs are turducken, and your O line is turducken. So what do you expect, man? Like, and now your receivers went down. So. Right. And we can blame the defense, because only person that's been balling on the D line on the defense is Landon Collins. Everybody else been Jackrabbit. Well, I don't know why I would want somebody to call me Jackrabbit, but he's been trash. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie leaves the facility whenever he wants. Like it's been a shit show up there. So the defense gets some blame. It's more than enough to go around.
Yeah. No, the defense definitely gets some blame. And like I said, I contend if they didn't have the injuries that they had, they wouldn't be this bad. But they've still been exposed for what they do and what they don't do on the line of scrimmage. I think I don't know. It's just a crazy situation, man, because people were definitely duped. Some stuff happened. A couple of guys got into a little bit of trouble during this week in the NFL, and Marcus Peters, the nice young cornerback from the Chiefs, he was suspended for this Sunday's game for an incident last week versus the Jets. And he wasn't suspended by the league. He was suspended by Andy Reid and the Chiefs brass because he picked up a referee's flag and chucked it into the crowd. I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. It was hilarious. But I guess, Andy would be remiss if he didn't. It's another one of those things like we talked about in the last conversation. Andy might not want to do this, but he got to save face and look like he's going to do something so the league won't come down hard. And, he can just look like he cares. But what did you think about that when you saw this dude? First of all, he chucked it into the crowd. He thought he got ejected. So he runs into the locker room. The game goes on, and they need the dude. So somebody runs back into the locker room to get him. He comes back out, with his cleats on with no, because he was already packing it up for the day. He comes back out with no socks on, and the Chiefs end up dropping another game.
I got like 3 issues with this. First of all, if I'm your teammate, you got to give me a fair one because you basically quit. Like, I've been in
said
some
he thought
cases
he got ejected,
known as a loose, as a bit of a loose
I get
cannon.
what you're saying, though, B. Because if you throw a flag into the thing, you think you're going to get it.
You already know. First of all, you're showing up the official.
Right.
So that alone,
so
you're intelligent enough to know you got to respect the official. You got to respect authority within the context of the game. So you left us. You're our best DB. I know Darrelle Revis is on the squad, but you're our best DB, Marcus Peters, and you're tripping. So you got to give me a rumble there. Next beef with him is you. I can't prove this. It's like how you look at Jay Cutler's face and you try and interpret whether he's a quitter or not. But my interpretation of that is Marcus Peters quit. Like, you quit on your team, and you've quit because losing has been infectious and has rotted the core of that locker room a little bit, but you quit. Dog, I'm not cool. So you show the ref up, you put us in a bad spot. You quit on us, and you lose your cool. Like, I'm not – yeah, you disrespected your peers and yourself more so than coaches and fans. Like, that's what I'm really looking at. Like, you disrespect – I'm your homie. I'm your man. We go to war together, and you left me out there hanging. You disrespected me. Like, come on, I ain't got no space for that. I ain't got no space for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so in addition to Marcus Peters, who by all accounts, like, I agree with the premise that you're making right there, because like we said from the door, like, when you do something like that, you expect to be thrown out of the game. So you thought it was over, and that's why you ran to the locker room, because you just knew that was the outcome of that. Your man Gronk, he felt like he was getting hit on a play where Tre'Davious, what's Tre'Davious' last name?
I don't speak on somebody named Tre'Davious, man.
Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious, and his middle name is Ain't.
Tre'Davious from the Buffalo Bills. He was guarding Gronk on the play. I guess the whole thing, Gronk thought that he was getting some contact on the play. He didn't get a call. Tre'Davious White ended up getting the interception, and while he was laying on the sideline after already being tagged down, Gronk comes and basically dives on him, throwing the forearm to like his upper back neck area. He was suspended for 1 game and actually had the gall to appeal the suspension instead of just taking that. What were your thoughts when you saw replays of this incident?
I think that some players get the rap as being dirty players, and other players get the, oh man, that's just Gronk. That he's just, he just lost. That was a filthy play, because for our fan base, for our listeners, I'm gonna explain something to you. The only thing that is accepted as cheating and poor sports here is something that is intentionally trying to hurt another individual or opponent or cheating the actual game itself. If the ref don't throw the flag, that's good defense. That's good coverage. Your big ass got to get open. Create some separation. You're the best tight end in the NFL. You got frustrated. You mad. You mad because you got locked down. And you, after he gets the pick, he's on the sidelines. So first of all, he's out of bounds, period. So he's out of bounds. He's not on the field of play. Brandon Cooks comes by and taps him down unnecessarily just for good measure. And then Gronk does a wrestling move. Like, did you see the way he did the move? Like, it wasn't just I'm hitting it. Yeah. Like, he sticks his body up and does like a Hulk Hogan drop leg, only but with his arm. Like, yo, if I'm commissioner,
a huge arm brace that he wears on his arm every week.
Right to the back of the dude's head. Yo, you getting 3 game checks for that from me, boy.
Yo, he could have seriously hurt him. And we're the type of people who hate that they're legislating the violence out of football. But like you said earlier, that's not the kind of violence that we tune in to see.
Yo.
That's just straight up. Like, if you're going to try to hurt somebody, let it be the way you hit them within the confines of a play. Don't try to hurt them on some after the play frustration.
If you see it coming, I'm cool with Gronk using that in the game. My man was laying down on a dead play, and Gronk
use it all the time.
They only suspended him because of the outrage and the fact that they knew Patriots privilege was going to come up, and privilege and entitlement in general because of the perception of Gronk. Oh, that's Gronk. The big, all shucks, Biff, college boy Gronkowski, the league's fun guy that everyone loved. They knew that was going to come into play, so they said, all right, we got to suspend him at least one. Yo, if someone else had done that, if any of the Bungles had done that, they'd have got 5 games. We know one of them, number 55, would have been out for a year. But because it's Gronk, one game.
I just want to let everybody know this because nothing on our switchboard is working right now. So if you're calling in, I know we were supposed to talk to Fred about some college football stuff. He's been on the line. We can't even get our co-host back. If you guys haven't noticed, you haven't heard Jimmy in like 30 minutes. We can't even get him back on. None of our soundbite. Nothing's working. So, of course, we're having some more difficulty. Hopefully you guys can still hear us. So we're going to keep soldiering through. At the end of the show, we ain't going to be able to play with music. I don't know how this is going to end. But having problems again, so we just wanted to let you guys know that. So if you're on the line trying to call in, it's not that we're ignoring you. It's that our board is basically frozen and we don't see you. So bear with us. If we do end up seeing you and getting all of this power back, then, we'll get you on. But until then, B and I, we're just going to soldier on. So Gronk he was definitely out of line on that one. Definitely don't like that. Like, that's one of those kind of things. Okay, if you're only going to give him 1 game, it's cool. Like, I'm cool if he doesn't get any games as long as, the NFL doesn't suspend anybody who decides to put hands and feet on Gronk from here on out for the rest of the season, because that was one of the dirtier things I've seen this year. And, I've heard people trying to justify it, mostly Patriots fans. Talking about he gets hit and stuff on every play and doesn't get a call, blah, blah, blah. There's still no justification for this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're going to tell anyone else. You're going to say you're supposed to control yourself at all times, no matter what's going on.
If you reverse it and it was Gronk, Patriots fan like Robert Kraft, let alone Patriot fans, Robert Kraft would call Donald Trump and something would get done. Like, so I don't even want to hear it. Like, that's out of pocket making an excuse for that behavior. Because from a coverage standpoint, if you watch the game of football and you watch the NFL, that coverage, it was to the letter of the law, it was pass interference. There is no defensive back there's
no reason to try to break his neck
in the world that doesn't do that when facing getting beat. If you want to keep it all the way a million, whole play is Tom Brady's fault. Don't underthrow the ball. But we ain't even gonna go there because Tom Brady is, the great GOAT. But if you want, it's Tom Brady. Tom puts the ball in the right spot. That doesn't happen because he's being held. So that means if you're throwing to the right spot, he would have overthrown Gronk, not underthrown him. Dude beat and got an interception off of being beat. So yeah, like that actually is the QB's fault. Go throw a
like I understand to your QB. I understand Gronk may get like the Shaq treatment sometimes. He might get a little beat up and not get, but how does your frustration boil over when first of all you're blowing the team out? You're blowing them out. So this means you're just so worried about your personal numbers that you're so frustrated that you're going to try to hurt somebody.
My opinion of dude has sunken quite a bit because I actually like Gronk. Like I've at some point fallen for the college boy routine. Like on the low, I kind of laugh at Gronk. Like, yo, he seems so innocent and fun loving. Like I like, but this was premeditated.
Yes,
it was thought out. You knew what you were doing. You did the Hulk Hogan body joint. And back to the coverage. Yo, if they would legislate that out of the game, your man Charles Woodson wouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame if you couldn't do that. Because my man grabbed everything. Ty Law
would have been the worst corner ever.
Ty Law is a robber. Like he straight up robbed people and went up in their pockets. Like, can't complain about that coverage.
All right. Well, look, man, since we can't go to Fred and talk about these playoff selections, the Heisman finalists, his closing remarks and thoughts for the season, and all of these coaching moves that's going on in NCAA football, we're just going to go on to one of our favorite topics, and that's the Ball family. LeVar Ball has decided now, we know he already pulled LaMelo Ball out of high school to supposedly be homeschooled. Haven't seen any evidence of that yet. He's pulling LiAngelo out of UCLA, and a big part of it is his frustration on the indefinite suspension from the fallout from the situation in China. Look, I understand a father who wants the best for his kids at all time, but at this point, and it's probably been, points prior to this, but this situation was really serious. At this point, I don't think you're teaching your son anything because LeVar is going around saying stuff like, man, we wasn't punished this much in China. Like, they're going to miss half the season and this and that. So he decides to take him off the team. But what do you teach your son if he can go over to a foreign country while representing this university, get his sticky fingers on 3 different expensive stores, and then come home and have to face the music at home? Nothing serious, just a punishment. You can't play basketball for a while. You still go to class until then, even though we know that's not important to anybody these days. So he's going to take him out of school.
These days, ever.
He's being suspended. What do you teach your children from basically letting him know, like, we deal with punishment or discipline or consequences for the things that we do? Like, what's the teaching? What's the teaching moment here?
To the general listener and people that will enjoy our show, the problem with the entire Ball scenario is threefold. First, we've seen this before. It's just getting worse. This is getting worse. That's all. We've seen this before. We've commented on it. And you, Dev, and Jimmy, you giving this dude a bit of a benefit of the doubt because there are some redeeming things in what he does. But overall, I've always been aware that this guy is a clown. And here's
me, and I've kept it honest as far as, okay, if he does something that I can bang with, then I'm going to give him his props.
This is a pattern.
But
we don't like the ref.
Something that I think is clownish, I'm going to go the other way on that.
We don't like the ref. We don't like the ref in Las Vegas at the biggest AAU tournament in the country. So I'd take my entire team off the court in mid game because we don't like the ref's call. Right. When we don't like something, we roll. I take my son steals, breaks the law in another country, and I'm complaining and hollering and hooping at the UCLA head men's basketball coach, the athletic director, and really the president of the university about the consequences for my son making a bad choice. And so I run away from that. I take him up.
Right.
I listen to the musings of my oldest son and his terrible play for the Los Angeles Lakers, and I blame his head coach. I blame his teammates. Anything but constructive criticism and accountability for his sons. So here's where I'm going to speak to Black America. I know that we're enamored with LeVar Ball and the fact that in the media, the black male father hasn't been held on a pedestal since Heathcliff Huxtable, who now, obviously was found out to be Bill Cosby. But, we got to hold people accountable for what's right and what's wrong. And there's far more wrong with LeVar Ball than there is right, especially in terms of what he is teaching his sons about accountability, about being great leaders, about being good teammates, about being good men. And the bottom line, the last thing that I'm going to say, and what this really, really boils down to, is when these guys left high school, when Lonzo left high school, if it ever was about the boys, it has ceased to be about the boys, and it's all about LeVar and Big Baller Brand. And these children are only pawns. These are only pawns on his chessboard to garner the attention he wants for his end game and his end goal, which he may not even have an end game. He's just trying to sustain his 15 minutes of fame and make it 20. And it's really the saddest thing that I've seen. And see, black people, because of our situation in this country, we're going to continue to give him a pass because of the way that we're portrayed and painted in the media, when in reality, he's contributing to the stereotype and he's contributing to the next.
There for his sons. You still have to teach a certain level of responsibility. Like, I'm going to be my son's biggest cheerleader, just like LeVar was for his, through their young days and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm going to instill things in him and let him know that sometimes life ain't fair. Everything's not easy. Everything's not free. There's consequences to your actions. And, as much as I love you, sometimes there's going to be some teachable moments where I'm going to have to let you go through a little bit of adversity so you can build some type of strength and you can build some type of character. Right. So if you can't allow him to go through a suspension at school and he's not understanding why, saying we're in more trouble here than we were in China, but this was the university that you were representing when you were over there, getting busy in the Louis Vuitton store. Like, there has to be, as a parent, like, forget the school, forget China. As a parent, there has to be some type of,
I forgot. When the high school didn't go the way he wanted to, you pull your son out of high school because they decided that it wasn't good or conducive to the growth of the rest of the program and his other players to allow LaMelo to shoot the ball 45 times a game. Like, and he's supposed to be a point guard, so he has to learn to run a team and lead men. But at the end of the day, I saw a lot of this, and none of this surprises me, and it only saddens me because I feel sad for these three boys because their father is doing them a disservice and an injustice, and it's terrible to see because we're fathers and we're fathers of boys, And so my son is a world-class football player, football, soccer as we call it. Not really world-class, but he does play for a top 10 ranked program in the state of Georgia, and they're ranked nationally. My son is James Harden. Offensively, he can do everything. Defensively, he thinks it's the job of the defensive player to go get him the ball so that he can go do what it is that he does. And I hold him accountable for that. We don't run from that. I don't tell him, yeah, they're supposed to get you there. I say, get your little ass back there and defend. Just because you're an attacking player doesn't mean that you lose the responsibility of defending. Soccer's like basketball. Everybody has to defend. And so that's holding him accountable. We're not running from the adversity of a part of your game needing to develop or a part of your character needing to develop. And we build upon that to say you're responsible to yourself, to your teammates, to your coach to develop and be responsible on the field and off the pitch. And I don't see that with LeVar Ball. I see anytime something comes or arises that isn't going to go exactly the way he wants it to go and be the easiest path for his boys, he quits and walks on to the next thing. That's really
that's funny that's what we're talking about, because that's my pet peeve. That's the one thing that I will not tolerate with my boy going through this whole journey of sports and life in general.
You can't quit.
You can't quitting. Yeah.
Yo, you're not allowed to quit.
My son is 6, and we've already had talks about that. He's already developed this competitive nature where he hates to lose.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, if you're in a game and it looks inevitable that you're about to take the L, that doesn't mean you mope around. Yeah, there's still no quitting. You play hard until the very end, and though we hate to lose, we're still going to be sportsmen about this. We're still going to dap up the other team after the game, but we don't have to like it. You know what I'm saying? We can go home and be upset, but I always tell him, and in his short life and short time playing sports, you use that to go work harder, practice harder, train harder, get better, so you don't have to feel this all the time. Do what you can do to not have this feeling all the time. We're not just going to walk away though.
Just lost the tournament. My son is not used to losing. He loses twice a season, if that. And had to have the conversation. I said, when the game looked out of reach, you look like you took your foot off the gas pedal, bro. Right. You can't quit. You can't quit. You always have to fight. And so I don't see that. I see the biggest example of that with the Ball boys is Lonzo, because he's going through adversity that he's never been against grown men, and he's losing. And I think that he's losing the locker room, which is even bigger than losing on the court, and the struggle he's facing. I think that they look at his attitude, and his father and the Lakers organization is creating rules around his father. And he is going to implode, because that's not the way team sports work, man.
And we talked about that way before he got into the league, of how LeVar Ball was put a target on these boys' backs. And we didn't even mention the fact that target would extend to his teammates. Because your dad's going to throw them under the bus every time your team is struggling. Even if you're playing like trash, he's going to throw them under the bus. It's everybody.
And not you. By player efficiency rating, he's the 73rd player ranked, and I think there's something. No, out of rookies. I'm sorry. He's the 73rd out of rookies. And there's only 75. Rookies? And there's only 75 rookies.
They got that many rookies in the league?
Yeah. There's only 75 rookies in the NBA, and he's second to last or third to last in PER.
And to shout out to the homie Tobias, who, of course, he's been trying to call in. So he just took it to the War Room Sports Game Time group. And if you guys have the GroupMe app, or if you don't, go get the GroupMe app and search War Room Sports Game Time Group, and we will let you in on that. That's just somewhere else that we have our sports chats. But Tobias says in there, to the point we were making a few minutes ago, he said it takes more than simply living in the house to be a good dad. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. And, I'm not going to knock LeVar Ball that far. Like, I know he's way more than
working
a guy
on sports.
that's living in the house. But
it takes more than working on sports.
No doubt. And like I said, I think you made a good point. Like, for all the situations where I have tried to defend him, I think you made a great point about those boys being pawns at this point for his brand, because that seems like it's the most important thing. It's at the forefront of everything he's doing, and I just don't know because not only did he take LiAngelo out of UCLA, we already know that LaMelo is no longer going to high school, but both of the boys just signed with an agent, the same agent that represents Lonzo Ball, and they signed with the agent with the hopes of LeVar's hopes of both of them going overseas for a year and playing on the same team. So this agent is now shopping this brother tandem, this 16 and 19-year-old brother tandem. He's shopping them overseas to play on the same team so they can do that for the rest of the season and enter the NBA draft when they're eligible to do so. Now, the crazy part about it is LiAngelo wasn't high on anybody's draft board. He might not have been even on most people's draft board going into the season. He wasn't even slated to be a starter for UCLA. So the fact that LeVar was super pressed with him being one and done might be something else that could hinder his career, because you're in a rush, to do everything, when right now he doesn't even garner that type of attention. If he does come out to be a one and done, he might at best be a late second round pick, maybe not get drafted at all. Then you're derailing his career because you didn't give him a chance to stay around and get the attention that he would need to enter the NBA draft. So that's a lot of components to this, man.
In evaluating him, I do think that he's talented enough to be what I would call maybe a fringe all-star. I see him as Ricky Rubio 2.0, an improvement on Ricky Rubio, which people are going to laugh, but Ricky Rubio is actually
Lonzo you're talking about?
Lonzo, yeah. Lonzo. Yeah, very good NBA talent. And I see Lonzo developing into a guy that could have been, a better version of Ricky Rubio.
Yeah.
But
I've said this before, Big. I think Ricky Rubio is his greatest comparison right now.
Yeah,
they can chill with Magic, they can chill with the Jason Kidd. Right now, he's Ricky Rubio. And that's not a knock, because I'm a Ricky Rubio fan. But when you're supposed to be Magic and you're supposed to be Jason Kidd, being Ricky Rubio is not that positive.
Is a problem.
But being Ricky Rubio will keep him in the league for 12, 15 years.
But I don't even think that's going to happen, and because I literally am fearful of this guy being out of the league off his rookie deal. I can see it.
Maybe because people might think he's not worth the trouble that his dad is going to bring to your team.
So now, what's the play here with the rest of the family? They're going overseas. I mean, is that what this is going to be?
He's trying to get them overseas. His plan is to wherever they go to spend good time there, but to also send their uncles over there to be with them, so he can still be here handling his business. And he's looking at it as a one and done situation. Where they come back into the NBA draft. I don't even know the rules on Melo, B. I don't even know if Melo can enter the NBA draft after one season overseas.
He may be too young. I think you have to be 18 years old, but there's a problem. And
is it the age, or you just have to be 1 year out of high school? I mean, he did pull him out.
You might be right. It might be 1 year out. I'm not sure. The problem is because of the way he's developing entitlement and privilege in these boys. When you go overseas, and we have a plethora of homies that have played in EuroLeague and South America. What you have to realize is there's grown men with children fighting to feed their families by playing basketball. And you can make a good wage. Like, they're by no means broke, but, you know, $200,000, $300,000 a season, but they take it very, 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 very seriously. And the other thing that happens in the overseas world, especially in EuroLeague, you can come in there and tell them, look, man, I can average 30 a game. And they're going to say to you, we brought you here to get us 10 assists and to play defense. You're to pass the ball to that guy who's from this country, and you're going to get him 25 points a game. And if that doesn't happen, we'll see. We don't care that you can average 30. You're not going to average 30. You're only going to get 10 shots a game. And that literally happens. How's that going to work? If he's mad at the Lakers starting Lonzo, what you think is going to happen? Yo, they can be successful. They got to jettison their dad. At some point, what has to happen is these young men have to jettison their dad and learn and grow through life on their own, because their dad has taken them as far as he can go. Now it's his turn to be a kid again, basically.
Right.
He's been a kid.
And it's crazy, man. Like, the kind of, because I asked a question in the War Room Sports Game Time group the other day. Like, not even really a question, just I was wondering. Like, I wonder what the boys think about these decisions that LeVar makes, because I'm a fan of their show. I watch their show on Facebook, and it doesn't seem like, even if the facial expression says something else, and you know me, I don't like to be a reader of faces and a reader of body language, but even if their facial expression seems to say something different, they never really have any pushback or any opinion on the stuff that he asks them. They just go with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all well and good. And that's another thing. Like, I'm not going to raise my son to not have an opinion. I'm not going to raise him. Yeah. I don't expect him to just break bad with me every time we have a conversation or something like that. But I would like to know what he's thinking. I don't want to just make decisions and not give him a chance to voice his opinion on why he may think it's a bad or a good decision for his life. So, I wonder how it feels for Melo, because I witnessed the conversation, unless that was staged for the show, which it could have been, but I witnessed the conversation when he was telling Melo, like, yo, we're going to leave high school, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, like, this is the best way. He really didn't look like that was what he was feeling, and this dude is really immature.
He's really, and that, he's not what I'm
ready.
saying. His idea of going overseas, it's almost like, even, do you remember when we really, really used to hoop, and it would be times where you would see a young boy in high school and you could look at him and you watch him play, you say, yo, he is more talented than me, but because I'm a grown-ass man, he can't win. Like, that's what LaMelo's going to face over. It doesn't matter that he's more talented and that can shine through every now and again. When he goes to get up against grown-ass men, they're going to shut that down. Like, nah, man, this is we play grown man basketball over here. Not what you're doing in Chino Hills. Not 50 shots a game. Like, we're not having that. So I'm worried about the kids and about the children, even though they're of an age where they're getting a little older. And I stopped liking kids like after 12, but I still extend some empathy and some compassion, because I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to go down a controversial road, so I'm just gonna leave this one controversial statement. If they had a black mom, none of this would be happening. All right, go ahead, Deb. Take it away.
All right, I mean, it's a crazy situation, man. Like I said, as much as I want to root for LeVar Ball and the revolution that he's trying to bring about, man, I can't say that I've been supportive of how he's gone about certain things. Not my kids, so it's not advice that he has to take or anything like that. People do what they want with their own seeds. More power to them. I hope it works out. But it just looks like everything he's doing is at the detriment of them. Like, Lonzo is the target that he is in the NBA right now because of his dad. This is a quiet dude who doesn't say anything wrong to anybody. Doesn't do anything wrong to anybody.
I don't even think Katz is really trying to kill Lonzo anymore because I think people are starting to be aware that it's his dad.
They probably feel sorry for him.
They feel sorry for it. Yeah, that's what I was about. I think they feel sorry. Like, they're like, yo, this kid ain't Ish, and he ain't never even going to be Ish till he's top. Like, ain't no glory. Like, Russell Westbrook, have they played OKC yet?
Not that I remember.
If Lonzo Ball was even half the attitude that his dad was, Russell would hang 70 on him. I think Russell going to have like, I've seen cats that I knew would I know what they're capable of, and they've taken it easy on Duke. I think people are starting to feel sorry. I think people are starting to feel sorry for Duke. I really do.
Well, I'm hoping Ben Simmons doesn't feel sorry for him later tonight, because we got them on national TV, on TNT.
Ben gonna lay mushroom head. He's gonna lay mushroom head upon his head. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, because if his attitude is what we think it is, what we've seen from him so far, then he gives no Fs, and he's not trying to be a part of the banana boat revolution. But that remains to be seen. It could all be an act. But I hope not. So, yeah, that's an unfortunate situation. Quick stat of the week. It goes back into the NFL. Goes back to Roger Goodell. Shoot, it even links into the long conversation we're having because I keep hearing people comment on this. But Roger Goodell signed his extension this week. Peep this: 5 years, $200 million extension for the commissioner of the National Football League. Like, his salary just goes up every single year. And it has some markers that he has to hit revenue-wise, so it's not a fully guaranteed contract. But if the NFL gets back onto the track that they were in the past 3 or 4 years when they were just printing money, then he should be okay. But if they keep going down this path of losing viewers, maybe losing some sponsors, the backlash of quote-unquote patriotic Americans over the protests and stuff like that, then he might be hard-pressed to see the full numbers of this contract. But it's crazy numbers, man. Like, he makes more than twofold more than the highest-paid players in his league.
Listen, while we at it, first of all, my position on that is understanding business and looking at him completely from a business standpoint and tying it to revenue generation, profitability, and cost management. Like,
you see what it's worth.
I think he's 100% worth it. Like, I don't even have the inkling of a problem with it. So, like, God bless him. And
we're in the minority though. People been slamming at him. People are mad. I mean, that's another. Like, you and I, we've understood his plight from the beginning, and I think a lot of people, it's that snowball effect. A lot of people get that snowball, that negative Roger Goodell snowball rolling down the hill. It rolls over them, and most people hate the dude and couldn't even really tell you why, besides the little token answers that they're gonna give you. But if you're looking at him, if you're one of the team owners in the NFL and your name is not Jerry Jones and you're not just being a hateful little child right now, like, you see the worth, you see why you would want to extend him, why you would want to pay him this kind of money, because the league has seen unprecedented revenue over the past decade, unprecedented profits. He's taken all of the negative heat for stuff that the owners are probably really responsible for. So it's like, yeah, pay that man. Pay that man. What else is there? At the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line. And if he's presiding over a business that's making billions,
I'm super objective. I'm super objective when it comes to, like, money. When it comes to evaluating value and worth, Like, you know how I feel about ISO Joe. Like, I have random favorite players outside of the all-time great.
I listened to your conversation last week.
I love Isolation Joe. Yo, Isolation Joseph had one of the worst contracts in the world. Like, why would you pay him $120 million? And I love dude. Like, I love his game. I appreciate everything about his game, but he's way overpaid. And the same team. In the same, you got to take it. I don't have no problem with him taking it. In the same vein as your man LeBron, like, you know, I take shots every chance I get, but I think he's underpaid. So, like, I'm very, like, I look at that in terms of purely business. While we at it,
what you think about Mike Conley?
Trash. Can we get into my man Trash? Yo, he needs to be paid. Yo, he needs to take $100 million pay cut. Can we talk about my man Leo Messi's new contract? Because I want to talk about Leo Messi's money, man.
What did he get?
Leo Messi's buyout clause.
You can't even say it.
Leo Messi's buyout clause is $835 million.
Come on, man. Yo,
you gotta pay. You gotta pay $835 million to talk to Leo. That's not his contract. That's just to talk. If you want him, you gotta pay $835. His weekly salary is $667,000 a week, and that's 52 weeks. That don't stop just because of the season. And he gets a $59.6 million signing bonus up front. Yo, dog.
First of all, there's too much money in this world. Second of all, but you know, and I used to always say this, like, man, it's crazy that athletes make more than teachers and people like that make a difference. But hey, teachers don't generate this kind of money. So you gotta, you know, like I said, just like we said with Roger Goodell, if you're somebody who generates this kind of money, like once you become a business person, you kind of understand it. Like, okay, in the greater scheme of things, athletics are not important in society past the morale standpoint and what they do for people and their quote unquote miserable little lives when they don't have to be around their miserable little lives. Shout out to LeBron. So we understand that. We understand teachers should be the highest paid people in society, but teachers don't do anything to generate that kind of money. We understand. People pay a lot of money to see sports. Advertisers pay a lot of money to be a part of sports. It's
bump all that logical stuff that you talking. Why my man got $1 billion buyout clause?
It's crazy.
Why you got to pay $1 billion to talk to him?
Yo, why can't I play a game of amusement? Like, come on. These dudes. Yo, Mike Conley getting $30 million a year, man.
Yo, Mike Conley make me upset because he's not better than me. He's just old.
He gonna tweet you again, whatever he did that time.
I don't care. Look, I don't care what y'all say. He's not better than me. Neither is Kevin Ollie.
All right. We done lost our co-host to some technical difficulties. We done lost all our callers to technical difficulties. But when y'all get a chance, make sure you visit warroomsports.com. Take a look around the website. Do everything you need to do there. Just click around, explore. If you got some questions, you can hit us directly from the website. If you're interested in sponsorship and advertising opportunities for everything that we're doing, because obviously, at least this episode, you can't put your money into our show because we don't know what's going to happen from minute to minute. But that's a joke now. Come get, pay up. We got you. Make your money.
You got paid $900 million to talk to you.
We'll make your money worth it. But real quick, let me get some quick birthday shout outs before we briefly bring up what happened while y'all were on the grind. And birthdays are always brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence, top quality, results-driven websites, and mobile apps at incredibly affordable prices. And financing options are most certainly available. So visit digitalextremetech.com or call 261-205-4203. And for discounted rates, be sure to tell them that the fellas at War Room Sports sent you. All right, quick birthday shout-outs. Fernando Vargas turns 40. That's weird.
Damn,
it just
y'all
don't
old.
seem like. You just remember Fernando Vargas fighting as the young guy. This is the young up-and-coming guy. Now he's 40. Alan Faneca turns 41. You know, the fondest memories I have of Alan Faneca playing football is just hearing Pat Summerall say his name. It seemed like Pat Summerall always said the name Alan Faneca for some reason. Your man, T.O., Terrell Owens, should be in the Hall of Fame. He turns 44.
Still not retired.
And if there's a team looking for him, then if there's a team looking for a receiver, he is available. He is working out at 44. Larry Legend. Larry Bird turned 61 years old.
Better than LeBron.
And Johnny Bench is 70. So we have to give a salute to all of these folks on their birthdays. Salute to you. And there were a few things that happened while you guys were on the grind. While You're on the Grind is brought to you by DirecTV. If you'd like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including some of the most extensive sports packages offered by any service, go to DirecTV.com. Order a better TV experience. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV if you're not getting your Bobby Bonilla on. Real quick, man, because we've been close to this team for the past 15 years or so. Your man Clinton Portis says when Coach Zorn took over for Joe Gibbs in his second stint with the Washington professional football team, he lost the locker room pretty quickly. And the reason he lost the locker room was because he put a kibosh to a pregame ritual done by, it was originated by Clinton Portis, Santana Moss, and Sean Taylor while he was alive, the Miami boys. But Zorn wasn't there when Taylor was there. But when Zorn came, they kept the ritual up in honor of Sean Taylor. And this ritual was each guy would take a shot of Hennessy before, going out onto the field to play a football.
Hen dogging these mouths.
So I'm sitting there like, God forbid a coach, such an evil, evil coach doesn't want his players drinking before a professional football contest. Like, that's a weird way to lose your locker room because you didn't let guys take shots of Hennessy. And of course, they're going to push the sentimental thing like, well, we were doing it because Sean used to do it with it. But okay, when Sean was alive, y'all were still doing it. So that kind of makes that excuse a little bit shaky. But there's better ways to. And I don't want to be that dude because, that's how they always tell us. I don't mind I'm not even going to say I don't mind what you're doing because I do mind. But usually they tell us, I don't mind what you're doing. It's just a better way to do it. It's a better place to do it. But, you shouldn't want to do that yourself. Like, you're playing in one of the most taxing sports in the world on the highest level of it. Like, why would you even want to do that before going out to play a professional football game in the NFL? And this is why the coach lost the team. What did you think when you heard that report? Mad at the coach because he won't let us drink. It sounds childish.
I feel sorry for Southeast Jerome, a.k.a. Clinton Portis, because it's obvious when you interact with him, when you read his words, listen to his interviews. My man had no pop. He had no pop. He couldn't possibly have no pop.
And he had no pop, and he's out of money. Yeah. So
he had no pop,
he can generate. I've seen him lately on TV be like telling all kinds of stories from back in his playing days that would seem like things that you're supposed to keep in a locker room. It seems like he wants that buzz.
He blew $50 million, and he's a flamboyant type of dude. So he's doing anything he can, to get a bag, anything. Right. This particular story, I'm on the fence about, and I know that sounds ridiculous. There are rituals that go on in a locker room amongst grown men who are brothers that don't make sense to the outside world, that don't go with logic, rhyme, or reason, but they work and they keep a balance.
Did they work, B? This is a team that was around for years, and for the majority of those years, this team sucked.
Yeah, they did, but I'm gonna qualify that, and that sounds funny, and on its face, that's hilarious, and I will go with that joke, and I probably will use it to a fan of the team. I definitely will. But those three particular players were all very, very good, if not great, in their own right. But Clinton Portis is a borderline. I don't say he gets in because my man Fred Jackson isn't going to get in, but he's a borderline HOF. Santana Moss had a great and productive career, and Sean Taylor, as much as you and I hate to admit it because of who he played for, he was on the way.
I don't hate to admit it. My whole thing, because I never have criticism of Sean Taylor per se. What I see now though is
the overrating, them overrating
value, right,
and
like
changing the narrative
more at the
than
point
what he was.
What he actually
was. I get you. But my point
being, to be the greatest of all time.
My point being,
but he wasn't,
he was not that. He wasn't the best. He was not the best safety in the NFC East ever.
He was still the dude that a quarterback could look off and beat him deep because he was looking into the backfield. So he wasn't totally disciplined, but his
absolutely. You would celebrate Sean Taylor because he was 230 pounds and could run down a slot receiver. Meanwhile, as a coach, you're thinking, why would he have to run down the slot receiver? Because if he was in position, he wouldn't have had to run him down.
And then he would rock you when he got to you.
But I get it. But I think that these guys weren't lushes. They weren't wilding out. They weren't,
Man blew 50, so that remains to be.
Right? If you blow 50 B, there had to be a lot of drunk nights in there.
He had $58 million and it's broke.
Alcohol is involved.
As far as on the field, their performance, I tend to lean towards the players on this one. And I know it sounds crazy. I know. But I feel
if you take these three guys, they were the reason for any success this team was having around that time.
Right.
These were the guys.
So I'm thinking that Zorn came in and said, I run a locker room this way. I'm a straight-laced coach. There may have been some cultural differences because we know who drinks Hennessy. We know the segment of the population that's heavily invested in that French beverage.
Shout out to Shannon Sharp, Hen
Dog, and these miles. I'm on these miles. Now I'm on these woods. No. Yo, he pulled out. Speaking of him, he pulled out a Newport 100. I'm done with dude. I'm done.
Yeah.
Pulled out a Newport 100. But
Shannon be towing that fence. Revolutionary one day. And blackface the next.
But no, I definitely understand on its face how this could be like, dude, this is crazy. But I also understand what goes on in a locker room, and I think this is one of those things. First of all, if we get all the way real with it and technical, I agree with you. It's a story that really shouldn't come out, and that way it wouldn't even have to be discussed. But I understand.
But my man need that buzz, man. So he's going to tell us everything that happened in them locker rooms back then. Everything.
He ain't no worse than Chris Cooley.
And two things here that happened while y'all on the ground, and we don't have time to actually get into them, but there finally has been an arrest made in the Lorenzen Wright murder case, and we'll expound on that a little bit next week. And some news that hurt all of our hearts. Warren Moon Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon, one of the latest to get popped in this whole sexual harassment, sexual assault allegation. I think his is harassment. I don't think it was assault. But I could be wrong. I'll check real quick. But I think his, and I know it's women out there that listening right now, like, what does it matter? But come on, let's not act like there's not levels to this, no matter how in you are for the cause. He's accused of sexual harassment by a former assistant. So, he hasn't gone as far as some, but he had some words for her. She alleged that he told her to wear thong underwear, and he did grab her crotch during a trip to Seattle. So I guess that goes over the line of harassment into assault. But it's like every name that comes up, I'm like, no, not him too.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, he stepped down from a lot of now. He's taken an indefinite leave of absence from what he was doing. So I don't know if it's just to fight the situation or to just get away from it and make a plan, or if it's just an admission of guilt. You never know these days, what's going on in the minds of these people, man. Not Warren. Not Warren. All right, man. So we're about to get out of here in a few minutes. Just wanted to ask you one thing about NBA basketball. And of course, NBA, even though we're not getting into the whole segment, is brought to you by Audible. So if you guys are not fond of reading, but you still want to get those stories, just go to Audible. Somebody can do the reading for you. Just listen to audio books. AudibleTrial.com. AudibleTrial.com is where you go to get your free audio book to start out your account. Anyway, you mentioned it earlier how the Lakers have basically instituted a new media rule that has everything to do with LeVar Ball and how he's been basically getting interviewed on the court and near the locker room and just around the Staples Center after games. So they're trying to put the kibosh on all of that. They probably wouldn't have had as much problem with it if a lot of his interviews weren't of him being critical of the team. So what do you think about that, real quick, before we get out of here?
It's necessary in this situation because he doesn't bring anything but negative attention to the Lakers and his son. So they're trying at this point anything and everything they can to quelch that. And I think Magic tried to downplay it initially. I don't think he was aware of how bad LeVar Ball can be and has gotten. I didn't think he anticipated this.
Right. And I mean, and they're claiming
nor did he anticipate Lonzo being a bum.
These are rules that have been in place but weren't really being enforced because they never really had a reason to enforce them. So now, they're doing in the walk onto the court. So they're going to enforce that now because that really was always a rule. But, this is the father of who you hope to be your star player one day. So I guess they were being a little lenient with it. And the fact that he's always wanted them to be Lakers, I guess, Magic and them probably thought he was going to play nice. But when the criticism turned to the organization and the coach, then they had to reel him in just a little bit.
Out of control.
All right, and last thing, I think the rumors of the Cleveland Cavaliers' demise were greatly exaggerated. They're on a 13-game winning streak. Isaiah Thomas is playing 4-on-4 practice. We don't know when he'll return. Your man Derrick Rose decided that he's not going to quit, and he's going to stay a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Did you think that there was, did you think that the run for LeBron and the Cavs were done, or did you think this was just early season growing pains, some additions?
on the team.
No, I never doubted that they were going to win the East for one second. When I analyze them, it's always based on what they will end up being in the playoffs and how they will compete there. This is a 50 plus win team, easy.
No doubt. Hopefully, they can keep the streak going for another week, and we can talk about this when we have more time, when Jimmy's back in the fold, and our system isn't acting super crazy. But for now, thank you, brothers and sisters, for bearing with us. I don't know how the audio sounded tonight. I want to apologize to everybody who tried to call in, but shout out to everybody in the chat room, which also wasn't operational because we couldn't do anything on our board. Facebook, Twitter, War Room Sports, Game Time on the GroupMe app. And like I said before, all the callers who tried to call in and holler at us. Special thanks to Gus Griffin because his segment was early in the show, so he was able to call in and give us his investment picks. Special thanks to Fred Perdue as well. He was there when he was supposed to, trying to give us his college football report. But you guys tune in next week, live right here on demand on the WRS Podcast Network, as we're trying to get that back up and running as well. We're having a bad few weeks here, B. But we'll recap Week 14 of the NFL and preview Week 15. Of course, we're going to catch you up on everything happening in the association. So until then, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week. We'll see you right back here next time. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook, Twitter, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on warroomsports.com. Also, make sure you pick up Jimmy's book at sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we will see you chumps on top.
Holla.
Peace.